Never gets old. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to B County Commissioners Court. Today is Monday, February 13th, 2023. It's 9:01 a.m. I'm going to call this regular term meeting to order. We are physically located at B County Courthouse, Commissioners Courtroom, number 110, 105 West Corpus Christi Street, Beeville, Texas, 78102. That was the call to order. Please join me in standing as Commissioner DeWitt leads us in a brief prayer.
Father God, thank you for today. Thank you for life, God. Thank you for putting it on this earth. Please guide this Commissioner's Court to make the right decisions for B County, for the health and safety of all the folks living here. Please hold your hand over our first responders. Keep those folks in mind through the earthquake. We ask all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas Pledge. Honor
Under
the
Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one faith, under God, one and indivisible.
Wonderful. Good morning, everybody. We're at agenda item number 4, which is where we recognize visitors. We have a lot of visitors today. Thank you all for being here. Some of you may want to make a public comment. That's agenda item number 6. We are on agenda item number 4. So during agenda item number 4, what I like to do is offer everybody in the audience that is a visitor, if you would like to stand up and identify your name, and if you're with an entity, the entity that you're with. If not, just identify your name for the record, but there's no pressure. If you don't want to stand up, welcome. Thank you all for being here today. Please come back soon. So is there anybody that would like to be recognized at this time?
That if we intend to speak.
If you're going to speak at public comment, well then you can speak at public comment. This is just for visitors.
And if you intend to speak on an agenda item, then when do you speak?
You can speak during public comment unless, and Mr. Carter, I don't know if you're planning to give some comments on your quarterly, no, then public comment would be the time unless I determine that I'd like you to speak during the agenda item. Yes, sir. Any other questions about how the agenda works? Okay, moving on. Agenda item number 5, Commissioners Court opening remarks. Commissioner Olivares, we'll start with you, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you, Judge. Good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to start out with a little bit of recognition. I'd like to recognize John Parkman. He gave me a lot of assistance there last week on getting my computer up to date. Candy, I don't see her, but anyhow, she was very instrumental in getting me some documents that were required to review subdivision requirements. So we're going to need that later on today. So she helped me with that. April with some questions around taxing and just overall process. And John, I don't see him in here, but he helped me get my little desk that I was looking for. And then also, kind of outside of our room is Kelly Rubel with TCEQ. We've now developed some sort of a dialogue here where he's contacting me when issues are happening in my precinct, so that's good, which we did have another event that occurred over the weekend. General information for everyone. I'm still scheduling to hold a town hall meeting on March the 15th, which is a Wednesday. The appraisal district is going to be the main speaker to do an overview on how appraisals are conducted in the precinct, and also provide guidance should you need to protest that. So they're gonna put on a presentation for us. As soon as I find a location where we can hold it, I'll let everyone know. The challenge is finding a location. I'm learning that whenever you have anything on a political nature, not everybody wants to host a town hall meeting, but we'll get past that. The other thing, just general information, I guess, to the court. I'm learning as we go along. I need to justify some software. What is the process for doing that?
So we can talk about that.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Okay, things that's happening in there. I had a face-to-face meeting with our appraisal district, doing a one-on-one session, just really trying to peel back the onion and understand how the process really works and how we're able to determine appraisal values throughout In Tynan, I conducted a site visit with Mr. Vincent Romero with TechStat. We were able to uncover the drains. It's been covered for quite some time. He's in the process of developing an action plan to start the repair process. Also, working with AEP for the lighting in the Tynan area. I have a meeting scheduled for Wednesday at 9 o'clock to basically locate the poles that have lighting on them existingly, and also, identify new lights. I think that night air got to me last night in an open forum, but we'll get past it. So in Skidmore, I had meetings with our ISD school superintendent, Robert Waterhouse, and good meeting, did an overview of the security program that they're currently using, the challenges that he's having around truancy, and then also talked about community services. How can we leverage the students that are in clubs to do that? I found back in the day, we were able to do that. I understand in today's environment, that's not so easy to do. I think it's a different group. We also had a discussion on something new that I learned around the Chapter 313 agreements. We had some discussion around that. Also, the next day, I actually got to meet with the business manager, Robin Moore, and we talked about some of the challenges that she's having on receiving payment on taxes right now. We did provide an overview of a resolution that designated the B County assessor collector to collect these fees on their behalf. One of the good things, I had a great conference here with the Railroad Commission on the incident that occurred south of Skidmore. Travis Baer, who is the district director of the Railroad Commission. We had a good discussion, reviewed his overall responsibility, so I know what to do next time when this occurs and how we can take immediate action to do that. One of the good things that are happening around trying to follow Commissioner Lenny's here, protocol and trash pickup, I was able to work with our JP, PCA Cantu, and Terry Olivares, and so we are going to start an effort to help clean up Skidmore by leveraging the use of community services through that department. So we're going to give it a shot and see if we can get it to work. In Beeville, Ray, thank you. We made some site visits to Old St. Mary's Road. There was a gentleman putting in a new landowner who provided some guidance on the installation of a driveway. And also Ray gave me a great overview of the flood challenges, I guess I could say, that are occurring in that area that, we'll be able to figure out. Also on the P County Colonial, are we going to call it April? Was that the mid-mod? No. Anyhow, we're waiting on final documents for our county attorney here so we can get moving on that. Hopefully we can get that done by today and get it signed tomorrow.
Yeah, CDBG, Colonia.
Great. And then, as a final note, I will be out the last 2 weeks of this month, so I won't be in attendance at our last conference call. I'll be attending a commissioner's court school so I can learn how to be a better commissioner. And then also, since I have a lot of interest, is a county investment course as well that I'll be attending. So I'll be out the last 2 weeks. However, I do want to point out, if anyone has any concerns, questions, I can be reached at 621-1574, or you can call me on my cell, 361-597-6317. And if I can't call you back right away or during breaks during the session, I'll call you after the session, let's out in the afternoon. So don't hesitate to call. We'll answer your call. Thank you.
Excellent, Commissioner Olivares. Commissioner Farias?
All right, mainly this past couple of weeks, we've been working with the GLO project that we have. Got with Ms. Anna Aldridge on 2 separate phone calls, and she is sending over the maps that are required for the grant writer to move forward for the surveys for the areas in Pettis and in Tynan, and also in Papalote. So that's moving forward as well, as fast as it can go. I also had a couple of Zoom meetings. I'm on a panel at the Commissioner's Court School in Bryan College Station here coming up next week, and preparing for that on how roles of the commissioner and the unit road system. So
The other calls that I've had were the jail, the fix on the jail. Now that Greco, our contractor that's, has our air handlers up there temporarily, is pulling off site already this week. And, the installer should finish the install by Friday this week, hopefully. Waiting on the county attorney to file a petition this week for our, situation with the constable. And then we have, we had a couple of problems with the tax office, backups there with the city. The city helped us out on that, and also Gabe took care of that for our maintenance department. I have BDA meeting tonight, and I'll bring you details on that on the next meeting. I'll pass my time.
Thank you, Commissioner DeWitt, you have the floor, sir.
You gave me some of your time, is that?
That's right. Settle in, everybody.
That's right. I don't have near as much. Anyway, I have quite a bit this morning, everybody, and it's all exciting. And I want to start out with Senate Bill 624. And those of you that have been following the court for some time know that a year or so ago, we asked the legislature to look at putting signage up on the renewable energy, the wind farms, one thing or another, because if there's a problem, no one knows who to call. They had one down at Taft that burned up a few years ago. They didn't know who to call. So Senator Colkhurst and Middleton have submitted Senate Bill 624, and it's entitled, "A Bill to be Enacted, an Act Relating to the Permitting of Renewable Energy Generation Facilities by the Public Utility Commission of Texas, Authorizing Fees." What this amounts to, I think our legislature has realized there needs to be more oversight, let's call it, of these facilities, because they're just going everywhere. This has new distances they can be from a house, and you may not think that's very important unless you live near one. I have an individual in North Bee County that has some of the wind towers probably within a third of a mile of their house. You don't realize the noise those blades make in a quiet evening. It's huge. My wife and I happened to be out there one day during the fog, and I was taking a picture of the windmill turning, and I kept hearing this noise, and it sounded like road noise, except the nearest road was Farm to Market 673 to Mineral Pawnee, and 181 from Beeville to Kennedy, and they were each like 4 miles away. But these blades make a huge amount of noise. It's something that would keep you awake if you were in an older house that wasn't well insulated. Something else that's happening to them, something that I didn't realize could happen, when the sun hits those blades at a certain angle, they're going into those people's house. That sunlight is hitting that blade and reflecting into their house. Now, you don't realize what that means unless you're sitting there and here's this flash, 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 flash that's going through your house. And this individual's, one of the people that lives there has a medical condition that bothers him. So they're in the process now of contacting that wind company to have them removed, moved, taken down, or whatever. So just keep that in mind. If one gets near your house, you may start getting some interesting situations. The thing that we asked them to do a few years ago, Representative Lozano submitted a bill that didn't quite make it that time, but it's in this bill, and let me read it to you. It has the name of the owner of the permitted facility. Any information required by the commission is to be posted at the entrance to the permitted facility. A sign that includes the name of the facility, the name of the owner, the name, business address, and telephone number, a general description of the property, emergency contact information, is to be contrasting color with block letters at least 1 inch in height. So they're listening to us. They're trying to do what they can to help everybody. Like I said, Senate Bill 624. If you've never met Senator Colkhurst, she's a powerhouse. She's a fantastic person. I've met her a couple of times and talked to her. When she gets her mind set on something, it happens. So if you get a chance to support this bill, Senate Bill 624, it's outstanding. Something else that's happening in North Bee County with the wind farm and the solar farm. Wind farm's been in operation long enough. We will be receiving ad valorem taxes on it this year. The solar farm, all the infrastructure is in place, but the solar panels are somewhere between here and China. They haven't come in. From what I understand, they're being produced in that area of China that has the Uyghurs, that culture that's there. There's an embargo against them by the United States, so I'm not sure when those panels are coming in. But the company is trying to buy more land. I just found out this last week in North B County for more solar panels. The interesting part is they offered the landowner $9,500 an acre. So I'm not sure where that's going. There's 1 million panels going in already, 1 million. So I don't know whether they said, this is a great place, there's lots of sunshine, I don't know, but they're trying to buy more land. So that's in the works. Commissioner Oliveris and I were fortunate enough to meet with the Nueces River Authority this last week. The Director of Planning, Mr. Travis Prusky, and Javier Ramirez, their floodplain manager, he's with us today. They're going to talk to us about the colonias in B County. Those of you that aren't familiar, there are 30 of them in B County. And the first thing, I can see the looks on a lot of people's faces, what the heck is a colonia? What it amounts to, it's a area, let's call it a subdivision, that is at least 150 miles, it's within 150 miles of the border. It is historically lower income, in need of water, sewer, roads, one thing or another. B County is in better shape than a lot of counties. We have roads, some of them need repair. But what they told us was interesting. There's money to upgrade the facilities in these colonias, and we're going to be getting with them and getting them with Robbie Guerrero to look at this. And I think we were told there's $1 million per colonia. And when I say colonia, let me just read a couple of them. You'll be familiar with these names. Skidmore, Tynan, Blueberry Hill, Toledo, Normanna, Pettis, Pawnee, Tulsita, Salazar Heights, Old Houston Highway, Hidden Acres. It's nearly everywhere in B County where there's at least 14 houses that's not inside the city limits of Beeville. So we're not sure how to unlock these funds. Mr. Ramirez is with us today. He has a presentation he's going to give the court, and I hope everybody can stay to hear it. It's pretty exciting. I know our road and bridge people are excited. We talked to them about maybe redoing the roads in these areas, and they said that the way to do it, we have to go in and clean the ditches, and when we clean the ditches, we'll mess up the road, so then we have to redo the road. So we're pretty excited about this possible project. Something that came up is we did a study. I was in community affairs at that time in 2003 on every one of these colonials. This is the study, and we were able to locate this document. It's going to save a lot of time. It has everything you ever want to know about every one of them, including the maps, the houses, the people who live there, their income. Mr. Oscar Tolliver and I and two people from the Department of Health literally went to almost every house in B County, several hundred, and talked to people. And that was the results. This Grant Works did this for us for the Commissioner's Court, so we're going to loan this to the Nueces River Authority and save them some work. Commissioner DeWitt,
Yes,
is
sir.
it possible that we could get a copy before we loan it out?
Well, anything's possible,
I'll talk to
but
Andy.
but it's not that easy to copy. There should be more
We may already
copies.
have it.
I think every commissioner received one. Now, I couldn't locate, I think I gave mine to somebody else. Because at that time, I wasn't a commissioner, I was in community affairs. But, there should be one somewhere in y'all's documents. But I agree with you totally. You hate to give out your only one, but it's not that easy to copy. It really is.
Commissioner Rivas, can I make this real quick? We'll just take him, just briefly for it for a week or two, because all that information is going to be uploaded in the, Secretary of Culture, website.
Great.
So it's not that I'm going to take it for a month or two. I will bring it back myself,
Okay.
and then you can take any copies that you may.
What we can do is, you can leave the spare tire out of your car as a deposit.
Okay.
And bring this back, we'll give you a spare tire back. But we do definitely want it back, but I
Oh,
appreciate it.
definitely. I'll took care of it and bring it back.
You don't realize how important something is that you did, and this was 2003, 20 years ago now. And it's gonna come around and help us out now, so that's a good thing.
Definitely.
Yes. And on that note, sir, I will pass to my commissioner to the right.
Okay, thank you.
We've been active.
We tried.
All right, got with Ray on some brush issues out in the precinct, and they're taking care of that, thanks Ray. Road repair. Also, we got the new signs for the San Pedro Cemetery put up. Well, TxDOT did it. They're on 796 coming from both directions. And, I want to send out a congratulations to all the kiddos with the 4-H and the Junior Livestock Show, rather. I went out to the sale, and that was it was a good deal. They, I wanna say that they reached,
Nobody told him about the $1,000 fine.
What's that?
The $1,000 fine, he's telling me.
You can pay for it.
I wanna say that they reached the $1 million mark with the sale again this year. So that's really, really good. Also, was out at the stock show, announcing for the rabbit show, which is always a fun thing to do. And then, participated in the, what they call the Old Farts Showmanship Show.
Did you win?
No, you know, the last minute, this girl entered, you know, she thought she was gonna be in the showmanship show, and she's like, well, you know, I just got out last year, so I have a pretty good chance of winning, so she entered in and she won. It was a setup. We were just shooting for second place at that point. Anyway, the other thing is, you guys know I do a lot of trash pickup and stuff that's keeping the county clean and whatnot. And so, as I drive to go see my patients with physical therapy, I'm sitting there trying to think about how to do things more efficiently and whatnot. So I actually designed and built a rake that I'm really eager to try out the next couple of weeks. I tried it out at the house and it worked great. So it's a rake that you pull behind like a really powerful lawnmower, a four-wheeler or something like that, and you can go and you can rake these bar ditches and gather up everything into one pile instead of having people walking down the ditch picking up stuff. So I got that done. And then last Sunday, there's a old Welcome to Beeville sign that sits between Zimmer's and the Baptist Church. And Carrie Jo Brandon with the FFA, Beeville FFA, she had her kids out there, and what we were doing was cleaning up all the brush and exposing that sign. Well, they're doing that as a project to get grant money to do other projects in the county through FFA. So they should be trying to refurbish that. And I want to say thank you to the city for picking up all that brush. I went out there helping them cut all that down and whatnot, and thought, you know, a couple of trailer loads, and man, you don't realize how much brush you can cut down in 2 hours, trees and whatnot. And so thank you to the city of Beeville for picking all that up. And thank you to Carrie for doing that with the FFA group. That's a wonderful project that they're doing to continue doing more things. That's really about all I have this morning. Oh, well, I guess I'll pass my other time to Commissioner D.
Thank you, sir. One thing I forgot to mention, I was asked about the Mineral Bus Stop. Very brief. Okay. Those that aren't familiar, we convinced the wind farm people to give us some money to build a bus stop for the people that wait for their kiddos for Pawnee School District. The uprights are now up all the way like now. It's finished, they're like finishing it out, so it should be ready in the next 30 days. So if you're going through Mineral, where the intersection of the Mineral and Pettis Highway are, to the left is the bus stop. It's going to be 60 foot long, 20 foot wide, about 17 foot tall. So when you see it, you say, what the heck is that? It's a bus stop. So when you see it, that's what it is. Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you to each of the commissioners for all that you do for B County. Those were excellent reports, and y'all have all been very busy. And so I feel, and I hope I share the opinion of our community when I say I feel very fortunate that each of you is in the position that you're in and that y'all are doing the work that you do for all of us. So thank you. I'll try to keep my comments brief. I know we've all been listening for quite some time. 2 weeks ago, I went up to Lubbock. It was very cold. I was supposed to have a partner to give a presentation in the new judges school. Unfortunately, as our Mayor Watson, Brian Watson, who's here in the audience today, he did all the heavy lifting, and the presentation went well only because of his preparation and work, but alas, he was not able to actually attend in person. So I did the best I could with it. But the reason I bring it up is, and I don't know how many folks in the audience realize this, or I don't, it's not even really something that is reported. but about a little bit more than a third and less than a half of all counties in Texas have new county judges as of January 1st. It was quite a historic turnover due to a lot of resignations and upsets at the ballot box. Locally, we have a new county judge in Live Oak County, Judge James Liska. After Judge Huff resigned, Atascosa County has a new county judge, Jim Wells. Refugio County, Aransas County, Oasis County, on and on. So it's an exciting time for the state. The Texas Association of Counties puts on a new judges school up in Lubbock. It was a wonderful event, and I got to know a lot of our regional county judges and also some county judges from more far-flung regions of Texas. So that was a lot of fun. It was fun to be up there representing little old B County. Moving on, that's it. I'm gonna cut my comments as short as possible. Move on to agenda item number 6, public comment. Is there anybody who wishes to address Commissioners Court? Yes, sir. We'll start, right here. Come on down. And remember, when you, gonna give everybody about 3 to 5 minutes. So please keep your comments brief, time flies. Also, before you speak, please identify who you are, for our record.
Here, there's two.
Although we all know you, Mr. Carter.
Yeah, for better and worse.
Well, sure.
I'll be pretty brief. I have my comments written down. I'd like them to be part of the minutes. It's, on items, 7A3 and 16. Basically, I have a letter there that I'll read into the minutes. To each of you, gentlemen, I've read with amazement and alarm the reference communication, and that reference communication is the audit management letter on item 7A3I. With amazement and alarm, the reference communication, a copy is attached herewith, made a part hereof, while quote, audit management letters listing items needed for or recommended for compliance with new or amended statutes, updated procedures, and best practices are routinely written with most audits. The lack of compliance with the requirements of basic internal controls and reconciliation of all cash accounts should never endure more than a few days. The lack of timely reconciliations is so very serious that it must be immediately noticed and promptly brought into compliance. Immediate notice means as soon as the auditor can put the request for delinquent reconciliations on paper. Promptly brought into compliance means completely without excuse on a date certain but not more than 15 days. If the delinquent reconciliations are not promptly completed and delivered timely to the auditor by the person charged with that responsibility, then the reconciliations must be done by the auditor or an independent third party until the cause of noncompliance is identified and eliminated. The reference management letter requires compliance by February 28th. The persistence of this problem with no written reply, documenting progress, persistence since last August, I should say, progress toward making reconciliations a routine item is merely a noticeable effect of an attitude of indifference toward compliance, or perhaps the lack of any written protocols for internal controls, non-current or non-existent department policies and procedures. There exists the great possibility that the accumulated non-compliance to date is the visible effect of a less visible cause. The Commissioners Court must closely monitor the prompt cure and thereafter the reliable compliance by the tax assessor collector. I recommend a vote denying the approval of the travel expense request of the tax AC on item 16 on today's agenda. And I'll show you what Upton Sinclair said. He said, it's difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding. Don't feed the lack of compliance here. I'll tell you a thing or two that, pretty briefly. One time in my many years, I didn't say, my name's Joe Carter and all you guys know me, okay?
Thank
For the
you.
record. One time I was in a medical labs in a hospital. I was getting my blood drawn on a routine thing and overheard this little conversation about a lack of compliance. And it seemed like maybe it had something to do with not running the controls on the test machines or something, but I don't know if somebody got the wrong kind of blood or something, but it caused a very bad reaction. I had to be flown away, and the question of non-compliance is there. And I'm getting my blood drawn, and I hear them say, well, what's the big deal? Nobody died. That's a problem of an attitude, and that's usually what causes persistent non-compliance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Is there anybody else who'd like to address Commissioners Court this morning? Mayor Watson?
Yes, good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Want to thank you again for those great updates this morning, everything you're doing for our county. I know that's seen by your constituents, and we certainly appreciate your effort. Just want to give a brief update. February 8th, last week, was D County Day at the state capitol. Just wanted to give a short report on that. Just wanted to thank the judge's office, Candy, back there. Thank you for helping assist on coordination of that event, along with our Chamber of Commerce, Tracy Florence and Kathy Black. We had a great trip. We took our Chamber of Commerce leadership, D County leadership class up there, along with several other of our community leaders. Our city manager was there, Randy Seitz from the Area Partnership, and Patty Johnson with the Republican Party was able to join us. We had great meetings with Representative Jan Lozano, with Senator LaMantia, and then also with Jim Wright of the Railroad Commission. And I think maybe our best meeting was with Lisa Craven, who is the Deputy Comptroller. And Randy Seitz, he was a bulldog with her and really let her know where we stood on a lot of the business with our appraisal district, some of the issues we've had with their mandated appraisal, or the firm that they've chosen to kind of place these appraisals on our appraisal district. So we had a great dialogue there, and certainly let the state know where we stood on that particular issue. We're looking forward to some kind of response from them. But again, with Senator LaMantia and with Representative Lozano, we talked a lot about economic development, about some of the things we'd like to see and some of the needs we have in this community, particularly rail, some water projects for the city, some oil and gas concerns, certainly, along with renewable energy and the state of our power grid, along with receiving adequate power to Beeville. I'm sure, as you gentlemen probably well know, Commissioner Faria, certainly with the BAP, getting upgraded service to B County is crucial for our growth, and making sure that we have an adequate electricity supply is, I think, going to be a key item here over the next year or so. So we make sure that we're mustering all of our resources to try to make that happen. But I want to thank the commissioners and judge as well for supporting this B County Day, and we're looking forward, hopefully, maybe having one additional B County Day later on in the session, and we'd love to, if all of you can be present for that as well. So, thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Watson.
Thank you, Brian.
Is there anybody else who'd like to address Commissioners Court this morning in public comment? Yes, sir.
It's been a long time, Mike Keeney, K-E-E anyway. It's been a long time since I've been here, and I must compliment you. I was never interested in your reports before. I find your reports very informative, even you.
Coming from you, that's a real compliment.
I mean that very sincerely. I thought it was very good. I'm not paying attention, believe me. I'm not known for that. But Joe was talking about the situation, and I guess I got a generic question there because I don't know if anybody's been in the tax office ever seen a manager there. That's kind of a significant event. I think that is this corporate, is this government welfare? People just don't show up to work. And I don't know if I've asked around. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that individual there. I don't know her. I don't know what she looks like or anything like that. I just know she's a woman. But the bottom line is that I think it's important to follow up on that, and I think that falls in your turf. Because you guys are the managers of the overall situation, and I have no idea, how much time that individual spends there, but it apparently based upon that letter. And now I've heard through the grapevine that both Pettis and Skidmore are considering suing the county to get this resolved. That would be a disaster. Now, that's a rumor. Nobody's been putting anything in writing, but that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Is there anybody else who wishes to address Commissioners Court this morning? Sure. Going once, going twice. moving on. Thank you all, for those of you that did speak, appreciate your, input. All right, now we're gonna start cooking with gas. Agenda item number 7, the following items are of an administrative nature. Commissioners Court has been furnished documentation on each item, and all such items may be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately unless requested by a commissioner or county judge. Move to approve. I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second with question.
The second, and Commissioner Fedius, you have the floor.
On the comp time payout for the county attorney's office, is that coming out
That's
of
been
our?
pulled.
It's been pulled?
We're not proceeding on that this time. Yes, sir.
Okay. There goes my question.
Any other discussion?
I guess I have one, Judge. This is all 19, or this is just, we just covered this?
Just that one.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry, it goes up to discuss and consider action.
Okay.
So it's all the change of statuses, the line item transfers.
Anything we need to
If
look
you
at?
have any concerns, we can pull it and discuss it.
Well, I have my financials and investment, if anybody had any questions.
Looked good, I think
Okay.
we increased on the investments.
I
And
noticed-
Mr. Carter?
Yes,
I noticed the interest
Yes.
rate has gone up again.
big time.
Uh-huh.
We have already busted our revenue budget and, investments. We're at 4.25 interest at Simmons, which last year was 0.25.
Would you say that louder for the audience, please? Last year it was how much?
It's,
Madam Mark?
0.25,
0.25, and it's gone to 4.25
25,
for interest we're getting on the money that we have sitting in the bank.
yes, which includes our arts fund, which is, $4 million,
Okay.
which is great.
Based on a variable formula, which is tied to, some rate, maybe it's a 1-year T-bill or a 10-year T-bill, I can't recall, with a floor of 0.25 or something, so the depository account was accepted, so it wouldn't go below zero. Who knew what was possible, but
Yes, with our depository, it's great, yes.
That's a good
And our
thing.
investments are
That's-
going good.
Yes.
Mr. Carter's really helping us, pulling our interest on our investments.
Thank you,
as
Mr.
well.
Carter, for finding all that for us.
Thank you, Ms. Gentry.
Thank you.
Judge, in the words of Stephen Covey, seeking to understand and be understood, I'd like to again thank Madam Auditor here for the guidance and the help that she's been providing to me, because I got a lot of questions around how this big machine works. And since we're not officially quote-unquote managers, it's somewhat of a little bit of a challenge for me, but I'll get past that and I'll learn how to play the game here pretty quick.
I know you will.
Thank you, April, appreciate
Not a
your
problem,
help.
anytime, Commissioner, anytime.
The only thing I'd want to identify is in your, in the, packet of information, I guess there have been new elections in our Emergency Services District number 2, so
Yeah.
congratulations and thank you to those, new and renewing board members for your service to the community. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed on this agenda item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on, discuss and consider action on the following items. Agenda item number 8, approve acceptance of Texas Indigent Defense Commission fiscal year FY 2023 Statement of Grant Award Sustainability Grant for the Regional Public Defender's Office Indigent Defense Services. This is a housekeeping item. The amount of the grant award has decreased. The decrease is because shortly after, there's a timing issue more than anything else. We entered into, we accepted a grant from TIDC under a contract we have with TRLA that included TRLA services in Refugio County and in Willacy County. So it's a 5-county, our core counties are Bee, Live Oak, and McMullen. In our discussions and negotiations with TIDC and TIDC is the Texas Indigent Defense Council, TRLA is Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid, our local indigent defense entity. We thought it prudent, everybody thought it prudent to separate Refugio and Willacy counties from our contract, so that's the reduction. That's why it's just a housekeeping matter.
And everything does but, balance in that, in the numbers that he did send over. It
Yes.
did balance with our budget.
And the final number was $963,383.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve. So moved. Got a motion?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 9, approve service agreement and policies from the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Center for district and county court cases. This was, presented to us by our district judges. It's something that they need for us to, be able to contract with to provide in the event of necessity in their court system. Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? No, that's not budgeted. Right.
I don't have an,
There's not
amount
an amount.
attached,
Yeah,
So
it would
it's
come out of
just-
their, professional services line item, I guess,
and they have,
in their own budget.
if there is a monetary, because I don't have that, but if there is, we'll certainly work that out within their, 435 budget.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 10, approve expo request for half auditorium fee waiver from St. James Church for their bingo on May 7th, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second. I've got a motion and a second. Further discussion? I know we have the Morons here. Is there anything you'd like to present? I think I'm so glad that we were able to, accommodate y'all, but if you'd like to take a moment.
Well, I am Susana Moron, and this is Fred Moron, and our colleague, Michael Rodriguez. We're here to represent the parish council and the finance committee, and just thank you for considering, the fundraiser and allowing us to use half of the expo auditorium.
I think it's wonderful.
Good luck.
It's our pleasure. Yeah, hopefully it's a great turnout.
Good luck.
Hopefully it's something you keep doing.
Oh, yeah, we're working
Oh,
on
no.
it. It's in bad shape.
So you heard that, everybody that's in the audience, St. James Church is accepting donations for roof repair. You can take checks, cash, money order, credit card. You want a credit card? We have a motion and a second already. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 11, approve expo request for auditorium and arena fee waivers from the Texas Department of Transportation, TxDOT, for their safety banquet on February 15th, 2023. Have a motion.
Move to approve.
I've got competing motions to approve, and so one will be a second.
I'll second.
Okay.
We have Robert here from TxDOT.
Morning,
We need to
Judge.
ask-
Good morning, Robert.
I work with TxDOT. I'm the assistant area engineer. Nate wasn't able to attend today on your honest behalf, and we're seeking for approval. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for taking this consideration. So appreciate all the help you get.
I'll tell you what, the relationship we have with TxDOT out of your office is outstanding. We work very, very close with you. I know Road and Bridge people commend y'all all the time, so thank y'all for what y'all do.
We're happy to know. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez, and I know that your office had to work pretty closely with my office over the course of the last week, and I just want to express, and please share it with your in-house folks. We really appreciate y'all's flexibility and understanding of, the somewhat tenuous nature of expo rental. So thank you so much, and we'll make sure we get it all straightened out next year. So thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, I'd like to echo what Commissioner DeWitt said. I mean, working with TxDOT, through Ray, through Mr. Vicente, with the issue that we're having down in Tynan, has been awesome. He's been very responsive, so it's good to know that. So, thank you.
Good. We're working towards that. We should get here something soon.
Good.
I know Vicente is working, for purchasing order to get that work completed, so
Great.
here soon.
Anything further? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Moving on, agenda item number 12, presentation from the Nueces River Authority given by Javier Ramirez, the floodplain administrator.
First, I'm going to give you a brief summary.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're just going to give you the floor, so.
Okay, so, and,
Thank you.
move around here. Now there's one. Then,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Good morning, honorable commissioners of the county of Beeville and constituents of this, marvelous, county. My name is Javier Ramirez. I'm, like the commissioner said, county judge on the Nueces River Authority floodplain administrator. But today I'm not coming to talk about flood. That's good.
Today, I'm going to talk about the 2022 Colonial Planning and Needs Assessment Project. So, Commissioner DeWitt, explained us very good about what is a colonia. I'm just gonna read a brief, paragraph of what the Texas Community Development Program, determines what is a colonia. So it says, the term colonia means any identifiable unincorporated community that is determined to be a colony on the basis of objective criteria, including lack of potable water supply, lack of adequate sewage system, and lack of decent, safe, and sanitary housing, and was in existence as a colonia before November 28 of 1990. So by reading this description by the Texas CDBG, you know that this project for the colonials goes into mainly for potable water, sewage system, improvement of roads, and housing. So Nueces River Authority, we do mostly work with wastewater systems and potable water. So we, the River Authority operates several plants in other counties. So the Nueces River Authority is mostly concerned, or it can be very helpful for the county with potable water supply and wastewater system. But at this moment, we are in the assessment stage. So that's why here, gathering all the information that we need, or that the Texas CDBG is requiring for us in order to create on a website where we are going to input all the data that they are requiring for us to gather. And this assessment, when it's done, it's finished, and it's uploaded at the Texas Department of Agriculture website, it's going to be the basis to create the Colonia Fund. So the Colonia Fund is 10% of all the Texas CDBG funds that they have. So 10% of the CDBG are set aside for the Colonia in Texas. 150 miles up to from the Texas-Mexico border. So last Friday, my manager, the director of planning of Nueces River Authority, and me, we talked with Mr. Commissioner DeWitt and Commissioner Olivares. We had a very productive meeting in there where we were assessing what are the greatest needs of the colonias. And so I hope that with the help of the rest of the commission and the county judge, give us as much of the information of what are the greatest needs for the colonians. And we already talked that there's actually a deadline for April where the most needed colonians that we can apply for funds as for April deadline. So we can start with that. But in the meantime, so Nueces River Authority is working in some areas to gather the information. So the Texas Department of Agriculture divided the 5 areas, divided in colors. So we are in the color purple and in the orange purple, and in orange color, which is in the record that I gave it to the commissioners. So B County is in the orange group, and that's why we're here. So basically, before I leave, I want to thank Commissioner Olivares and Commissioner DeWitt for all the information that they gave for us, and also for Mr. Guerrero. Also, he's gonna help us go in the field to identify the needs for ourselves, with personal view, personal visit to the colonias, where we're going to assess by ourselves the needs and gather all the information needed for us to start the project as soon as possible. So, Commissioner, if you have any questions, I'm more than welcome to address them.
A couple of things, if I could. The way I understand it, there is no match from the county. This is just money.
It's just money.
But we have to identify the projects, and I think one thing we talked about, you've got a municipal water system and sewer system in Tynan, Skidmore, and Pettis. And from what I understand, this money possibly could be used. I know Pettis has some issues that need to be, a lot of things need to be replaced, and they're emergencies. And that would be something that possibly could be done before April.
Perfect.
And the chairman of the Pettis Water Board, this board is here, Mr. Mike Smith.
Okay, perfect.
I would recommend y'all get together. Now, let's say let's say y'all identify a project for $100,000 in Pettis. Great. How does that work? Is there an oversight committee? Is that something y'all write a check for? They submit it to you? How will it work?
No, well, the Central Authority will do actually the procurement. So with the money that the River Authority will receive, they will actually go for the bids, because they have to go for bids. So they will do all that service, and then, and go for a project. But what specific,
So they would deal directly with Nueces, River
yeah,
Authority?
they will deal with that, but it's their decision, like we talked in the meeting, it will be the decision of how they wanna use the funds.
Right. But they would not deal through the auditor, they would deal directly with Nueces River
Yes.
Authority?
Yes.
Okay, that takes a burden off the auditor's office, because now you have procedures that have to be gone through, but that money never actually comes to Beeville County, it goes directly to the Colonia area.
It will go through Nueces, because Nueces will manage, it will go directly to the Colonia
Because
for the project.
some of these colonias don't have the system like Pettis and them have, so then it would have to probably go through the county.
Okay, I mean, that's something that can be managed, can be.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay, perfect.
If you go, just hearing what you said, we've already got projects going on in Tyne. And that's with ARPA funds. We have another project with the GLO. They cannot cross anywhere in the lines. One project can't touch another project, or it won't work, or they'll disqualify one of them. Is that the same with the Nueces River Authority?
That's not a question that I have to ask. Yeah, I don't have that answer.
Because we also have another ongoing project right now with Pettis, with their emergency situation with the GLO fund. So they're already in the process of surveying the areas for the LIT, areas and stuff like that. So if we already got something going there, would they qualify, or would it disqualify?
Maybe they could qualify for housing. Maybe they could qualify for roads.
Okay.
Or another part of a project in their system that's not including what they're trying to do. In other
I
words,
don't know whether they could cross each other's lines
Yeah.
without disqualifying one or the other.
Yeah, but that's during the process of adjudicating the project, that's something that is going to be taken into account. So it's something that is going to be, it's not that the project is going to be awarded and, oh no, now we have this, we need to read the other funds.
May I bring up, for instance, to make sure I'm understanding? So like right now, one of our projects is we have aerators coming for our aeration system and stuff like that. As a whole, the whole system needs to be updated, but to get us within compliance right now, the aerators need to be installed. So the GLO, I think,
Right,
is
the
what's paying for
areas,
the
if I'm not
aerators.
mistaken, are coming from the ARP.
They're
The ARP
coming-
funds,
okay, they're coming from ARP.
They're coming from
Yeah,
ARP.
right.
The water wells come from GLO. I think
So
keep
what-
an
I
arm's
guess
length,
what-
keep an arm's length on those, keep them out.
Yeah, no. So what my question would have been is like, because the actual sewer plant needs to be upgraded
Yes.
quite a bit,
That's-
because it's the same sewer plant that's been there since 1959 or something like that. Nothing has changed in it. Could we use?
Oh,
those
yeah,
funds?
definitely,
That's
yes.
a perfect project.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Because the aerators is just a quick fix. It's not an upgrade.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just something that has to be done. These funds can be used, a new project, a new plant,
Yes.
an upgrade, but the aerator, it's just a quick fix that I am pretty sure it won't be a burden for the plants to be awarded.
Right.
Yeah.
Because our current engineer right now is already turned in their maps for study to our grant writer. So the grant writers are gonna send our surveyors out house to house to
Okay.
identify if they're.
The
they
LMI.
meet the LMI areas.
Okay.
So when they identify the LMI areas, they'll either gonna qualify in this bracket or this bracket. But what I didn't want is, we've already got this one in the process, it's already rolling, it's going forward.
You know, Commissioner, if you could give me the contact information so I can direct that question to my director of planning. So, because maybe, that's a good thing that is happening, because you have so many information already that can help us do upgrade.
Right.
some things that are permanent, that is not a quick fix. So actually, it should be a good thing to have that information in order to move forward, faster.
Another project that would fit in that category would be, Tynan as well, and, get off.
Timing?
I have a quick question.
Hold on real quick, I think that's really
Yeah, just one second. Thank you for bringing that up.
What's that?
Key, about the conflict and crossing over.
Right, as soon as you can't cross any lines, they've already got an existing water project going, we're gonna assist her with a different part of the water process, like, I don't know, meters and fire hydrants, things like that. So as long as they don't cross, so they can meet, but they can't cross lines, or else it disqualify one
That's,
or the other.
like when you do an assessment of the project, you look at already projects that are, projects that are ongoing, or that are going to be approved. But then, it's something, I'm taking the example of the aerators. It's just, aerator, it has to do it now, it has to be pretty now, but it's not an upgrade. It's just to fix the current system. This is to either a new plant or a major improvement. That this is not something that is,
Something we could also think about, correct me if I'm wrong, the self-reading meters for Pettus, for Tynan, and Skidmore, which would be an upgrade to the whole system. Something to think about.
Well, the meters, but we were short 3 generators in that project, we had to cut out because of the price. As far as that is for the water system, for the water.
okay.
So they needed 4, and we could only fit, 1? Yeah, we could only fit 1 in that project, because we needed to spread that money out to Buffalo, to Tynan, to Pettus. So generators are for the upgrades for their water system, maybe that could help, and that's already a fixed price. They already know what it is.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, like if you can get that information and maybe put it into this April, deadline, this cutoff time, maybe this is the perfect, timing, it will be perfect timing.
So, Judge, got a question. Is it permissible for key players to have a off-site workshop to dig into the weeds of the planning and development? Is that possible or not? Everything has to be done at this floor.
No, we can set up a committee, I can do that informally.
Okay.
We can
Great,
get this
great.
moving forward. What date is
So-
the April date?
I'm not exactly I don't have the number. I was actually my director of planning, my manager, he knows exactly when the cutoff is, and he has the, because I am mostly with the assessment.
Okay.
So my manager, Mr. Travis Brooks, he's more into the project after the award, the funds are awarded.
Okay.
But like we talk, like he talked with Commissioners Olivares and DeWitt about, which are the greatest things in order to speed it up, and I think the commissioners, I think is a very good, example of what
So we have our deadline is already early May.
No, but
And we have to identify it, and it's gotta be.
perfect, no, but the information that you're gathering up, it could be very helpful. The surveys, all the information could be very helpful, to apply for a major upgrade of the system.
Okay.
Not delaying and not, affecting what is already being approved and to go on.
Okay.
Based on our meeting, they could leverage off a lot of the information that's already existing and speed it up.
This right here.
Providing we don't, cross those paths and
Judge, one thing that I think we need to think about too, this is gonna entail a lot of time for Mr. Guerrero. And because he needs to be with this gentleman, just like I was back in 2003 when we did this one.
Definitely.
Wind up going to every one of these colonias and assessing them, and Mr. Guerrero is the key.
Yeah.
So we need to be cognizant of that it may take him away from some of his other duties.
Definitely.
Oh, I'm sure.
this is where that workshop, Judge, that I was referring to, that we could work out the mechanics and maybe provide some assistance. Before we get too far, I guess if it's okay to do this, I don't know, can the court, Judge, Mr. Carter, he had a question? Or is that
I just want to ask a question, not about any project, but Commissioner Beeville tapping on a pretty important document there, and you don't want to lose it, and Mr. Ramirez says we're going to
gonna be up somewhere, okay? The somewhere, it'd be really good if a couple things could happen, if some of those maps which actually have some XYs on them somewhere, could, all those maps could be geo-referenced for future work. And if the link to where the somewhere is on the state website could be put back on the county website. And I see new things on the county website, but, you know, the libraries out there are so giant, you can't find what you're looking for, a lot of the time. So it's very nice if that can be linked back to the county. It's a
Definitely,
it's a resource that belongs to B County, and so even if the binder's lost, the link to the repository of that scanned data, which is very valuable.
So, yeah, and so part of the reason why Nueces River Authority is here is because, the old state entity that managed Colonia's, the Office of Colonia Initiatives, has been defunded or is closed down, and so the Nueces River Authority has stepped in to take over, that process. So the only reason I even say that is, I'm not sure if the Nueces River Authority has got that far along in the process in how they're going to collect and manage and have that data available
Well, there may
to
be more
third
data
parties.
there, but just preserving what, Commissioner Beeville was talking about, because is, if you don't have a library and a librarian and an index, now we do, because once it's scanned, it's very, very easy to stay up with, if you don't lose the link.
Right, yeah, and I don't know if that's what he was
No,
offering to do.
Is that a good idea, Mr. Ramirez?
Of course, yeah, to digitalize this, but the thing is that the main website is going to be with the Texas Department of Agriculture. That's gonna be the main depository, and it's going to be, what we're asking is the plat of each of the colonias, if they have one. So it's not going to, so it's the plat, and then, all I'm going to do, just scan it, a visual one, and bring all everything, all the binder, exactly as I receive it.
Well, the files don't come back to our website, just the link to their website, what we're talking about.
Right, thank you. Is there anything further?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very
so
much.
If you would, be sure and,
Yes.
Mr. Smith, your card and,
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you could give, our auditor, Ms. Cantu, one of your business cards.
Perfect.
let me put this in your hand.
Okay.
Take photographic. evidence.
We have a family cousin here.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone knows who has it.
Well,
I want to sure bet is that we are moving forward, surveying the area, so.
I'm just gonna give you.
I've already got like 5 different projects that needed to be done.
Thank you.
That can be done.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's early.
No. I want to. All right, thank you again, Mr. Ramirez. Moving on, agenda item number 13, presentation of Corrigan Ranch subdivision plans in Skidmore, given by Ray L. Baca, professional engineer, R.L. Baca Engineering. Good morning, Mr. Baca, you have the floor, sir.
Judge, before he speaks, I just want to recognize the effort that they have put into place. I also have been doing my due diligence, and thanks to Candy again, like Mr. Carter was saying, it was a challenge finding these documents, what actually information needs to be provided in order to do a new subdivision. It was a bit of a challenge. But, this process started working last year with, Commissioner Haggard and, our roads and bridges, Mr. Gonzalez and our water district. So it's been ongoing for quite some time, about 6 months or so. But the information they provided is pretty excellent. And I'm pretty good at reviewing detailed documents. It was, pretty good.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Ray Baca. I'm with R.L. Baca Engineering out of Pleasanton. I'm here today to present the Corrigan Ranch subdivision. This is approximately 200 acres, located east of Skidmore, off Corrigan Road. The developers purchased this property and he's looking to subdivide, and what I'm gonna call ranchettes. They're gonna be 5-acre or larger, residential lots, single-family homes. Met with Robbie, and Ray and Commissioner Haggard last September on the project, to kind of give an idea of what our plan was and kind of what the county had in mind and issues and things that they had in the area. And so in summary, we put together a subdivision plat, and construction plan for the subdivision. be restricted, with deed restrictions and covenants, from the Property Owners Association. And today, we're asking for a preliminary approval of subdivision plat, meaning that allows us to go to construction, can't sell any lots yet, until we come back to Commissioner's Court, once construction is completed. Then we'll come back to Commissioner's Court for the final plat, and then once we get the final plat approved, then we can actually sell lots. The developer's idea here is to have more affordable ranchettes, proposed to have, ag projects, that type of thing, and not to be piled in on top of each other. That's kind of their forte of the subdivision. So, you guys have any questions?
Before anybody says anything, and Mr. Baca, my apologies, in advance, but today's agenda item is presentation only. This is not an action item. So after this meeting, if you want to get together with my office, we can talk about getting you on, the next agenda for action. But, this is presentation and discussion, and I have a feeling that we're gonna have a robust discussion. So, Commissioner DeWitt, you want to have the floor?
Mr. Baca, I was the floodplain manager for B County for 10 years before I became commissioner. I have some concerns about where y'all are putting the subdivision. I understand, I know it's not a flood zone, but it's a rising water zone. And I know our road and bridge administrator, Mr. Gonzalez, and I have been out there before, and the houses existing in that area, when you have a lot of water, that area is fairly flat.
Yes, sir.
It can't get out of there. And what you wind up with houses that look like islands, because it's like a sea of water out there. The dogs and cats are on the porches, the vehicles have been submerged in water, and that is this area. And I look at what y'all want to do, and I admire what they want to do. They're gonna spend a lot of money. And if you'll bear with me, I have a few questions.
Sure.
The road you're gonna put in, is it gonna be a built-up road, or are y'all gonna take the material and put it on the lots?
It's gonna be a built-up road. We're gonna take bardages and build up.
Okay, when you build that road up, now you're intercepting that water, and if I look at the arrows on your topos, the water goes across that facility. Well, that road's gonna intercept that water.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Well, you've got it going down to the end of the cul-de-sac, and you've got a rock dam.
Well, the rock berm is for erosion protection during construction activities. Once construction's over with, those rock berms.
Okay.
For erosion control fencing and things like that.
Bear with me a minute.
Yes, sir.
When that water gets to the end, you're collecting that water, how long is this road approximately?
4,500 linear feet.
Okay, almost a mile.
Correct.
So you're gonna collect this water that's flowing, and I've looked at the relief, you've got about 6 foot from one side to the other that's going across there. You're gonna collect all this water, and you're gonna put it on your neighbor.
No, sir. So, in the subdivision, I can't remember how many, there's probably approximately 6 culvert, crossings in the subdivision. So if you think the road's running pretty much due north-south, the water flows from west to east.
Right, which will be right across the road.
Correct, and so there's, several culvert crossings in the subdivision that allow water pretty much to sheet flow as it does in existing conditions, make it across the roadway and continue downstream in the manner it does, today.
Okay, the manner it does today, it really doesn't. It just sits there, and it slowly leaves.
Right. So we're not changing the topo of the property, we're not mass grading the property, but correct. There will be a road built down the center, and there will be some relief drains across the roadway, for water to continue downstream as it does. And we realize, yes, it does at a slow rate, due to the general slope of the property, but that's kind of all been taken into effect as far as our design of the subdivision.
Okay, in your documentation, when I'm reading through, you've got Frio County and Medina County in your documentation. I think you need to take a look at that. That needs to come out because you're dealing with B County.
Yes, we will update that for sure. Yes, sir.
Okay. Who enforces the covenants once your subdivision is built?
The Property Owners Association. So the developer will establish, the Property Owners Association gets established with the state. And they have, each lot becomes a member of the Property Owners Association as they purchase the lot. And they have a board, and the board manages it from that point forward.
That's if one is put together. And the reason I say that, I have experience, if you would, in Encino Loma, which is north of B County off 2824. Same sort of situation. Subdivision was built, I'm guessing, 40 years ago. Okay, I'm in community affairs, I'm in subdivision regulations, and I get a call. they're gonna put in something they can't, you need to stop them. Well, when I did my research, the county doesn't have the authority because it was in the deeds and the covenants of that association, of that, okay, the developer's gone, they did not create a property owner association, so now the whole bunch was mad at the county because we wouldn't stop something from going in. Okay, my concern here, and bear with me a minute, my concern here is that, okay, you build this subdivision, and your restrictions are fantastic. No chickens, goats, I mean, it's good. But once you leave, and they don't have an association, they can come to the county. And then they say, hey, county, you signed off on this. I know that it says this and this, but now we're asking you to enforce it. That's my concern about what we're doing. I guess my big concern, I don't think the county has to sign off on this at all, because they're all over 5 acres. In other words, it can be filed by your company with the county clerk without the county ever signing off on it, because it's over 5 acres, and that's exempted under subdivision rules.
Right.
Is that correct?
For the county's regulations, if you're over 5 acres, it does not have to go through the subdivision code.
Right, which means we don't have to sign off on your project.
Correct.
Then I guess I'm asking, why are y'all presenting it to us to sign off on?
So the benefit from our perspective is, when all the lots get subdivided, everything on one sheet of paper, there's not 39 different meets and bounds descriptions for all the different lots. Everything's on one document, it gets recorded at the, it gets on file at the courthouse. That way, when adjacent properties are selling it, it just makes it a much cleaner way to subdivide property in one document than it is to have 39 different surveys.
But you can do that without us signing off on it, same thing.
Correct, we can, and so we're aware that we can.
Because I'm afraid when we sign off on it, we're creating a liability for the county 30, 40 years from now. I really am. I'm concerned.
As far as going back to the subdivision, the property owner association, so, we will bring the document that establishes the property owner association.
Yes, sir, but then they have to do it. And what if they don't want to?
So they establish it, and, once the property is, it's not the property that gets recorded, it's already established. The developer has, as he owns all the lots at the beginning, he's the sole member of the property owner association, and then as lots get sold off, people replace them within the property owner association. And the other thing is, on the flip side, we see that sometimes, third-party management companies, can get involved if necessary, to run property owner association.
Well, Mr. Baca, in one of your bylaws, and I'm going to quote now, failure to enforce any such restriction or covenant during its violation will in no event be deemed to be a waiver of a right to do so, ... The last sentence, enforcement is a right but not an obligation. In other words, I'm concerned that I don't want to create a liability for the county by us signing off on this, and then the association didn't form or it disbanded, and they say, county, you approve, and what we do when we sign off on something, we've approved it, whether it's tacit or otherwise. And we've created possibly a legal liability 30 or 40 years down the road, just like I saw in Encino Loma.
Commissioner, good point. I actually lived that scenario that you just talked about. When I purchased a piece of property, it was supposed to be an HOA, they had rules, restrictions. But after I moved in, I found out those restrictions were no invalid. And so we went to the city council to try and get some resolved issues. Couldn't do anything about it because it wasn't enforced. So he does bring up a good point. And after you're gone, and then I guess you're right, it comes back to the county, kind of like the park that we have over there. Who really owns it?
Right.
Yeah.
If you guys are more comfortable, not having a property owner association and
No, that's not our
No.
choice.
No.
We didn't say we're trying to remove ourselves from your business processes.
Mr. Baca, we've already got one area, it's in Commissioner Rivera, over by Old St. Mary's, that pools, just like Commissioner DeWitt said. And those people call and complain to us, call Road and Bridge, and say, hey, my toilets won't flush because the water is just sitting there for days and days and days and days. It doesn't work, they call and complain to us.
Not in a floodplain.
It's not in a floodplain, it's in a rising
Rising water.
area.
And those people, I mean, since I've been here, I've flagged a lot of calls, and I push them onto that commissioner and say, hey, you have somebody who can't flush their toilets for 4 days because the water's just sitting there.
Right.
You know, so that creates a big dilemma.
But what I'm hearing, he doesn't have to present this to the county. He can move forward
That is
with the
correct.
subdivision without our approval.
That is correct.
That's the way I understand the subdivision.
A couple things, first of all, and I just want to make sure we make it very, very clear, each one of the lots exceeds 5 acres. It's not 5 acres or larger, each lot in the subdivision exceeds 5 acres. Second thing I want to, make sure is very clear on the record is, we think this development in general is great, and we're glad that the developer and that you are here, and that y'all are doing this. B County needs good quality housing for our citizens, and hopefully for growth, in the near future and long-term future, and we think it's wonderful that, that y'all are putting forth your time, your effort, and your funds, to put this, together. Again, I think the concerns that we have is we don't want to blindly sign off on something and assume some sort of oversight, or even just the perception of some oversight, because we do have several areas in the county that we currently have that sort of quasi issue, and frankly, it's a burden on the county. It's a frustration for our constituents, because they don't understand necessarily the interrelationship between their deed, their law, their rights as to the laws of real property in the state of Texas, and the role and the responsibility of the county, not only in what we can and cannot do, but what we might or might not be able to do. The final question that the final thing that I wanted to say, and a question for you is, and it may have been in the materials, thank you for providing them, they were exhaustive. Have y'all reached out? I saw where you've gone through a review of the water wells, around the subdivision to look at, and I've seen reports from some of our, water well drillers in the community. Have you reached out to the Beeville Groundwater Conservation District? Are they aware that this subdivision would be, when successful, it would create, up to, what is it, 39
yes.
water wells in the area?
Yes, sir, I spoke with the individual there, about the process of permitting the wells and everything like that. We're given the criteria for that. They're aware of the subdivision. They have our subdivision plat.
Okay, great.
And they explained to us the process of permitting those wells. And to expand on that, as far as the other water well, information and the community around us, there's some 30-acre tracts that abut our property to the west. We pulled most of those reports and spoke with those water well drillers, about quality and quantity of water in the area, and also the groundwater district of that to ensure that there's adequate drinking water there.
Great.
Mr. Baca, one thing that I would recommend, and don't get my comments wrong at all, like the judge said, we appreciate what y'all are doing, we really do, and it needs to go in. When you're designing those water wells, when you put in that original water well pipe, what's the current, is it 18 inches is what they should be, minimum?
I'm not the expert on the water well.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
what I'm leading up to, make them quite a bit higher, just in case we get a hurricane that comes through and we get all this rising water, so it doesn't go in that water well. Doesn't
Yes,
enter that
sir,
well.
I'll make note of that.
So, make it a little higher.
Okay, I guess,
Just one thing to add, when we're talking about.
The floor will recognize.
oh, yeah.
Sorry, guys, and it's okay, I'm gonna let you speak, but you guys need to be recognized by the floor before the citizens will speak.
And state your name for the record, please.
Robert Doherty,
Please
and
proceed,
I've had,
Mr. Gordon.
I've had the same experience he's had. One thing is, if he has a plat, it doesn't have to, I mean, you have to, there's two things you have to do with it. But as far as him having a plat of record, he has to have that when that property owner goes to get a 911 address. The 911 address has to, I've been through the same thing, has to have a spot and time and place in order to tie back to. If it's not planted correctly, then he's gonna have trouble with 911 address. And that's where we have to have a plat, but that has to be existing.
Mr. Bucky, you were gonna say something.
I just had a question for the court as far as, I mean, if there's a way you would like us to go with it, I believe you indicated that, the developer's open to, because we've discussed the different ways to go about, in other areas, other counties, do a lot of work in Aspen County, we've done it like this, quite a few times. It seems to be the best for the developer, the best for the county, and the best for the lot buyers. And the developer here is open to suggestions or whatever way that you guys feel most comfortable with it, whether that be, setting up a private, a POA with a private road, or, it could be a county, dedicated roadway. That's kind of option number two. Instead of being a private road, it could be a county roadway. But when we discussed with Ray, I think the talk was, you guys have enough issues to deal with already on your own as far as road maintenance, and so by putting it to the Property Owners Association, each lot buyer, they pay X amount of dollars a year, that goes to a road fund, to allow them to maintain the roadway. So that's a clean way to do it. It'd be a gated community, POA takes care of all of that, so it alleviates any, dumping of trash, things like that you normally would see on a private road that gets done that way. But I'll go back to say, we could do this as a county roadway, and apply that like that with the county road, built to county standard. And the third way is what you're saying, if we're all over 5 acres, we can just subdivide by meets and bounds, and then the court doesn't see it and sign off on it and that sort of thing. So,
Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't I say y'all are gonna put in a concrete road? Is that correct?
no, sir, it's a gravel road.
It is a gravel road.
Yes, sir.
That's the only thing I got. If you're gonna sell the lots, it should be in the deeds, a disclosure of a rising water area.
Yes, sir, and one thing that we like to do on a lot of these subdivisions, put finished floor elevations, and so on a plat, if you do that, each lot has a finished floor elevation of what it needs to be built above, to make sure all lots are high enough. So we can sort that out, whether it's through, the deed restrictions, if we don't find it, or, finished floor elevation on the plat if we do find it, so. But, I appreciate your time, and, I'll speak with Commissioner Olvars, I guess more as we move forward, and, we'll come to a plan as far as the next step, for approval.
Do you have any idea what those lots are gonna cost?
No, I know they're, in other areas, they're selling 5 acre lots for, anywhere from, say, $100,000 to $125,000.
Okay.
And so it's, I think, kind of the market that we're targeting. Obviously, when you get to a 10 acre lot, the price per acre goes down a little bit, but, that's roughly,
Well, and with that kind of a investment, I would encourage the private road and the gated access and that sort of thing, so that's probably what you're looking at.
right.
I appreciate that.
All right, I appreciate it.
Mr. Bucky, thank you so much for your presentation this morning.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, agenda item number 14 is being pulled. Moving on to agenda item number 15, approved resolution authorizing submission of grant application for the border prosecution project to the Office of Governor.
It's
This is-
just new BPU year,
Yeah,
and it's, 2023 through 2025. It's been on a 2-year, basis, and this is just proving for the new year.
so this is
coming year.
mostly housekeeping, and I
Yes.
only hesitated because I had a note that one of our assistant district attorneys would be here this morning,
Oh,
so,
yeah, I haven't seen them.
that I did not recognize.
This is housekeeping.
Oh,
Oh.
well, you're not,
Oh,
Rachel.
I didn't
I
even
know
see Miss
you.
Pat back there.
Miss
I
Hennig,
didn't
good
even
morning.
see you.
That's the request, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion.
Move to approve?
Second.
I've got a motion, multiple seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Ms. Hennig. Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you back there. Moving on, agenda item number 16, approved tax assessor collector's request to use county credit card to pay for conference registration, hotel accommodations on March 26th to the 29th, 2023.
Judge, I have, some comments when it's appropriate to, bring up.
Do we have a motion? May not be any time for discussion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Commissioner Olivares, you have the floor, sir.
Don't shoot the messenger, as I would say.
Okay.
In my quest here to better understand how, the mechanics and details work, I've had a lot of concern coming to me about the overall process from the tax collector. And I'm learning because I'm not sure what the issues are. I don't know if the use of our third-party contractors are not doing their work, if proper management is being oversight for what's being happening, but bottom line is the dollars aren't being collected. Don't know the details. Well, I'm bringing that up, and I've also heard about the absences that, you know, this individual don't know what they are, have not had the opportunity to speak with them. But there's a concern that presence is not there. I went through that concern when I first came on board here, where my office was just being set up and people thought I wasn't present, I wasn't in the office, so there was a concern that was raised by someone. I would like to talk to them, but I know that's probably not gonna happen. But, anyhow, the concern where I'm heading with this is that if there's a gap, we need to identify how the gap is. I mean, if there's classes or attendance that needs to go, you know, you need to get your work in order first before you go to a class. Before coming into office, my personal situation, I had paid for a vacation last year. I made an effort to contact the court to identify if I had to be here. I was willing to cancel my vacation to be here for court date, and it wasn't there. The point I'm trying to bring up, I think there's some due diligence that needs to be brought to the auditor. You know, maybe there's clear explanation, don't know. And maybe this is probably an off-site conversation to better understand what those needs are, what challenges that she's having in order to not fulfill those obligations. So that's all I'm trying to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. So with respect to this, the auditor's request to utilize the county credit card for this, I believe this is training, conference training, what did I say? Oh, audit, sorry, I just can't do that.
It's policy.
Because I'm gonna drop you.
It's all right, I would've spoken up when he.
Yeah, so,
No,
thank you, yeah.
it's policy.
Let me just, completely change the topic. No, so with respect to this request, I'm looking at the documentation that was provided by the tax assessor, and, you know, we can't operate in a manner where, if this is necessary training, we're not gonna grant the training because, the tax assessor is having challenges, or difficulties, in some other, that is unnecessarily punitive, in nature. But, regardless of that issue, so setting that aside, the request to the court, has a president's message, from something called the Bulletin, and I really don't know what this annual conference is, or, what, if it's necessary training, if it is just for fun, which in which case it might be a bigger issue, for Commissioners Court. And so, Madam Auditor, are you aware of any of the more details of what the substance of this request from the tax assessor's office is? Do you know? Because I can't.
No,
I
I mean,
can't
I
tell
saw the bulletin, just like, no, I didn't receive an additional call or explanation, but it is tax assessor collector school, I mean, is what it looks like. It's maybe an annual conference. Her chief deputy is available. I'm not sure if she has more information to share with the court. Okay, well.
Okay, and do we know who, who the request is for, how many individuals, or?
What I know is Michelle and her auditing clerk.
Okay, for Michelle and Cindy. Any other, questions or discussion?
The table,
I have a motion to table, do I have a second?
You already have another motion on the table, unless we withdraw our motion.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, we had a motion.
in a second.
We had a motion for it,
I will withdraw my motion.
and I will withdraw my second.
Perfect, now, do we have any other motions?
I wish to table this until we find out more information about
I'll second that.
I've got a motion and a second to table, until our next agenda. When is our next Commissioner's Court? I don't mean to be be jumping into your motion.
No.
February 27th, motion to table until February 27th?
Absolutely.
And there's plenty of time for this, March 29th meeting.
Yes, should be.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's an early bird, but if it's registration, 'cause really to use the credit card, it's hotel accommodations is usually what it is, but to register and to, have any type of, to take advantage of an early registration, early bird, that's just purchase order. So, I mean, 'cause this is for the request to use the county debit card
Right.
for her hotel, so she can register if she needs to, get that early bird.
Do you know if y'all are already registered, if they're already registered? Yes, ma'am. You don't. Thank you for being here this morning. So motion and a second to table this until the February 27th, 2023 agenda, is that correct? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 17, approved submission of fiscal year 2022 racial profiling report for the sheriff's office.
Move to approve.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to approve. It's not Sergeant Villarreal anymore, is it? It's Lieutenant Villarreal. Let me be this, I'm gonna congratulate you twice in one morning, but I'll do it with the camera on. Congratulations on your recent promotion, and thank you for your continued service to the county. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We've seen the report, it's in writing. Stay safe out there. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 18, approve Affordable Care Act Reporting and Tracking Service, ARTS, 2023 Renewal Confirmation Program Agreement. Move to approve. I've got a motion to approve, and I've got a second. I also have Mr. Castillo in the back. Is there something you'd like to present to us this morning, sir?
Judge, my name's the HR Director. We've been, dealing with this pretty much yearly since the start of the Affordable Care Act. TAC, what they basically doing is keeping track of, everybody in regards to the leaves and different things. That way they're able to make that report to, the government. Helps us out tremendously, doesn't cost us anything, so we just want to see if the court's willing to allow that again for us.
Doesn't cost us anything.
Yep. Music to our ears. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Moving on, agenda item 19, approve the award of request for proposals RFP number 22/23-005 for the purchase of a body scanner for the B County Jail and Tech 84 Inc. in the amount of $139,000 to be purchased utilizing American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Move to approve. Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Is it here? Is it available? Is it gonna be en route when you order it, or is it gonna be here next year, 2 years?
We don't have it, they
Don't
didn't
know.
provide that.
We don't have a
with it.
timeframe of anything, we're just sending, we're just motioning to approve the RFP that had gone out and closed. So they were our only bid, and it was a really good bid within, the ARP guidelines.
It actually came in under what we thought it was gonna be.
It did, yes.
I know, I'm looking at the bid, it says, they're gonna freight it from San Diego, 2 days formal on-site operator training, so I think it's gonna be pretty quick. Just let them know.
And they actually provided several counties who have already successfully integrated their systems, so, I mean, we anticipate it to be pretty seamless.
Excellent. And thank you for your patience, Chief Deputy. I know this has been in the works with the committee for about 2 years now, right?
Prior
15
to that, he's wanted a body scanner.
Remember that discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 20, American Rescue Plan, ARP status and projects. Commissioner DeWitt, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, Judge, and we've spent quite a bit of time this morning on other things, so I won't go through the entire list.
Thank you.
I know, unless you want me to.
No, sir.
Some things that we've been able to add is been able to help pet us out in the municipal system. And, we just got the body scanner. Something that I noticed at the very bottom of the list that, I wasn't aware of, the repeaters that go in the sheriff's office radios have been moved over to the American Rescue Plan Fund. Is that correct, Madam Auditor?
We haven't discussed it, formally in our committee. It was a recommendation that I made to the MITMOD committee, and I mentioned it to Angela, and she threw it in. So it is, we're going to discuss it in our, next time we meet.
Okay, we didn't know if it was qualifying the
I
GLO,
understand.
and that's why we.
No, we dropped it
And,
because of the budget.
but we'll have funds to do it.
I believe so. Now, this is just pending because we don't have EOC final numbers, and that, of course, comes first
What we
before
can
anything.
do, we'll put it on the agenda for the meeting, for the committee to have a meeting. I was reading this, I haven't seen it. The other thing I noticed is that Tynan hydrocyclone purchase, Commissioner, Tynan came to us and needed a special deal to get the sand out of the deal. And we approved it, and I noticed that, follow up to see if they still need it. We don't know whether they bought it or not.
We haven't not had any correspondence
No.
and since.
Yeah, not since then. The focus on these last, few meetings were on the aerators. To complete
Right.
the, agreement on that, so we focus more on those projects versus this one.
Okay.
But we're not sure if they are, continuing with that as a.
We have not had any correspondence with Tynan on this
What we might
issue.
recommend is Commissioner Oliver, get with them and find out, because they were desperate to get it right away, and we approved it, and they were gonna buy something that wasn't TCEQ approved, just to get them going.
Yeah, I remember the discussion prior to mine this morning, and I'll take the action item to follow up.
And that's all I had, Judge.
I do have one, Commissioner, that if I could add to that, don't know where it's gonna fit. Based on an event that, I don't think the official title, Robbie and myself, Community Affairs, thank you, Judge. We pulled up on a site unaware of the substance that was on a site, which we still potentially could be hazardous. The question arises that, do we have any type of gas monitoring system? Fire departments don't have it, sheriff's department doesn't have it, because I spoke to Ronnie. Where could that funding come in that we could maybe potentially purchase?
H2S?
Yes, H2S, well, it's a 5-unit system, you know, H2S, carbon monoxide, and O2.
If I could speak to the court, just find out what it costs and bring it to the committee, and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
And then, if we need one for Mr. Guerrero, we probably need one for the sheriff's
Oh,
office.
absolutely, absolutely.
We as the Pettis Toledo Volunteer Fire Department have had great success with getting gas monitors and stuff like that from some of the, oil and gas companies around here, because they have to
They
have
have
them anyway.
them, yeah.
So like, I wanna say it was ConocoPhillips, was it? They gave us gas monitors for every truck.
Wow.
H2S monitors for every truck.
I'm sorry?
We have had several in the past as well, girls.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe reach out to some of the, well, it would have been the end of year.
So I'm gonna take my lead with Commissioner DeWitt. In my previous life, was heavily involved with that type of, equipment and purchasing of it and usage. So yeah, no, thank you. But I really believe, Commissioner, we need to have something like that. Robbie and I both had some exposure that we probably shouldn't have stepped on. I just let my guards down. Didn't anticipate that was gonna be the situation. I'll come back.
You know just as well as I do, once you can't smell it anymore, that's when you got a problem, because you've lost all your senses.
Yep.
Judge, before we leave, I'd like to again recognize the Pettis Manure District, Mr. Smith and Jesse, for being here. They're doing a fantastic job. I toured the facility. What he's put together, he calls Frankenstein, Band-Aid, whatever you want to call it, but they're doing a great job down there, and I'm pleased we're able to help them. I'm pleased. It looks like we may have more help for y'all, so thank y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lenny, do you have anything to add to the ARP committee?
I think it's pretty much covered, if there's anything else you need to talk
Did
about?
you want to read all?
before we adjourn?
Oh, that'd be it.
Oh, thank you all for being here today. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your insight during our discussion items. Thank you for your professionalism. During our meeting, there are no executive items on the agenda today. We'll move forward with agenda item number 21, adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank y'all very much.
I'll be happy to stay, go over there with anybody.